Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, how are my snipers doing today? I hope you guys are doing fantastic. Listen, today we're going to be talking about the one and only turbo coin, ladies and gentlemen, right? We're going to break down the basics first, and then we're going to get into the technical analysis. So we can see, ladies and gentlemen, that we are ranked 160 in the whole world, which is phenomenal. I do know we will be hitting that top 100 when altcoin season does come around. We are currently at 0.004 in price, 278 million market cap, and we can see we're at 53.84 million in volume. 91% bullish sentiment from the community, which is what we love to see. Now, if we go to see the holders, I believe last time we were on 55,600. So we can see, right? We've grown a little bit, nothing too crazy, but I expect the growth to continue going to the upside very well. Okay. That's because I do expect some type of recoveries when it comes to turbo. We can see the last few days when we go down over here, we have been slowing down in momentum. And when we go to something like the 4-hour chart, ladies and gentlemen, we can see that we have created a reverse head and shoulders, right? Boom, reverse head and shoulders over here. Let me draw it out so people can understand. We have one shoulder here, we have the head here, and we have another shoulder here. So a pretty deformed head and shoulders, but nonetheless, it still counts, right? It still counts. And we can see we have been holding it well, but not only that, but the way the candles have been closing, ladies and gentlemen, have been closing extremely well. When we take away something like the wicks, the rejections, we can see that we have consistently been creating higher and higher lows. Okay, so we can see boom, 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 right? All these lows have been higher. And now we have broke structure. We have broke structure to the upside. We can see we did have this top over here. Boom. And we can see price action is currently over here. So we can see we did create a higher high, right? Because this was the high and this was the higher high. Okay. And we have been creating consistent higher lows, right? This was the low. This was a higher low. And this was also another higher low. So we are shifting to the upside. Everything is looking good. If you want very big confirmations, you will be having to wait for a daily type of close, right? Because as of right now, the daily close is technically a lower low, right? Because we have this low over here, and then we have this low over here, closing lower than this low, right? At 0.0037. So we can see what I'd want to see in terms of a structure shift is a close above the 0.0045 area. Now that is in terms of daily closes. The little key details always show in the smaller time frame, like the 4-hour chart. So for me, this can very well be the start of the reversal as we are getting, momentum is shifting. Like I said, if you want very big confirmation, we do need to wait for the dailies and the weeklies to be closing. Okay, it is that simple. But look, there's a high probability that this is the start. Okay, because we are, for one, on top of a very big support, extremely big support. And I don't really expect this price to get lower than 0.003, to be honest. And that's already me being generous. Okay, number two, Bitcoin has been looking to be pumping, right? It is pumping up. It seems like Bitcoin at this current moment is at a scenario of where, right, we flatlined for 2 weeks, but we are looking to go higher and higher. Now, of course, this is just the start, and we have to see how everything closes and reacts off of this key zone over here, right? So, we'll only know when we get to roughly, let's just say 109,000 to 110,000, okay? But in terms of Bitcoin itself, we have been closing higher and higher consistently on the 4-hour timeframes. So we could see, boom, right? We have these bottoms, higher, and higher. So it's looking very nice, very promising. And something I talked about possibly in the turbo video, or at least in the overall market updates I do is that when we go to something like the weekly, I was saying there's two possibilities. I was saying number one, we either get something like this, right? Boom, because we had a few very, very weak couple of weeks and then we just dropped off, right? We had 2 weak weeks, but then now we're going up. Or we're going to have something like this, where we're going to have like, 2 to 3 weak weeks, and then we're going to go up. And I said this is the more highly probable scenario because global liquidity is still on our side, right? Global liquidity is still looking to be going up. And we also still have the delay. So we are still yet to experience a good amount of the global liquidity, right? If global liquidity was going down heavily, then I would say, there's a higher probability instead of us looking kind of weak like this on the weekly and then shooting up, it'll be more like this, okay? So yes, I do expect Turbo to start recovering. Turbo is a very, very unique coin because this coin does move in bursts, okay? It does. So it doesn't really go this slow, methodical way up. We can see usually when Turbo starts exploding, it really starts exploding, right? We've seen it, mid-April, the way it exploded, right? We went up like what? A large amount. We were the #1 most pumped token, right? #1 most pumped coin. We went up 181% at one point, and we closed at a roughly 130% pump for the week. So yeah, it's crazy. I expect momentum to shift very, very heavily, very, very soon for this coin. How fast, how soon, not 100% sure, right? That is more speculation. That's more assumptions. The only thing I can confirm, once again, because some people get it confused, the only thing I can confirm is that we are breaking structure on the 4-hour time frame. And we're looking to overtake this structure at the 0.00458 area. Okay, very, very simple, very, very simple. We can even see in terms of the fundamentals here, and we go to the 4-hour, we can see that the orange line is almost above the green line. What does that mean? When the orange is above the green, that means we are bullish. When the orange is below the green, that means we are bearish. So we can see even we're getting confirmation on this indicator that, look, we are looking to flip. We're looking to have this orange line above the green line, and we're looking to potentially change structure, right? Of course, on the daily, it still hasn't done that because, like I said, it does have to get much higher for momentum to be confirmed that it did flip, right? And of course, on the weekly, it's the same thing. It is the same thing, right? But the weekly is a little different because this takes the averages. So once we do get above this zone over here of 0.0057, what this ultimately means is that buyers are going to be in control, and then that we're going to be looking to take out this next area here of 1.5 cents practically, okay, in terms of the big picture. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, things did get delayed. The global liquidity wasn't perfect with the timing, but overall, I'm still very, very bullish on this coin. The only thing that could really mess things up is if World War III would officially happen. But we cannot be scared. We cannot fear. Usually the most amount of money is made during when others fear. But that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys did enjoy. I'll talk to you guys next time. Goodbye.